Major cities in the United States are all dying, and this is how we save it. We're back to watch another banger video from the Elephant in the Room by
San
John
Francisco
LaCour.
politicians that they should take lessons from Rudy Giuliani, they'd think you're nuts, maybe even evil. They see him as quite likely the second most destructive politician in America, who peddled conspiracy theories, tried to stage a coup, and
Sure. I mean, I heard about this guy for quite a bit, especially during Trump's election. I think first term and second term also. He is a big supporter of President Trump. And I don't know too much about Rudy Giuliani. In fact, I find out much later that he was New York's mayor. So just a little bit of background about who this person is, right? Rudy Giuliani. And by the way, the video is from The Elephant in the Room by John LaCour, right? It's a really cool video about an unpopular idea that will save San Francisco, because we do see a huge phenomenon in the United States where all the major cities are just filled with filth, drugs, and then just lawlessness. It's crazy. And I think common sense would say this is really easy to fix. But why isn't it fixed? Well, we're going to watch the video and find out.
finally getting his due comeuppance.
By the way, for those who are not in the United States, you probably don't even know this is happening. But if you ever came to visit and you visited major cities in LA and San Francisco, or even New York, LA, San Francisco, I think they all have the similar issues now. Or if you come to Austin even, we'll go to 6th Street, the downtown, bro. It looks like a third world city. They all look like it. It's crazy. I feel bad about it. I think this should be fixed. And then they say America's democracy, which I don't get it. At this point, it doesn't look like a democracy because any common sense people would not support this. But how are the politicians even in? I thought politicians are being elected because democracy in the United States to help the people. And I don't think they are. I don't think they're doing anything that people wanted right now, actually, especially with the cities. City is a great example of that. So let's continue.
Giuliani took over New York in 1994. It looked a lot like today's San Francisco, or for that matter, Chicago, Baltimore, Portland, or
By the way, the American cities are basically like that. Like Austin's not this bad. If you go down Austin, like go downtown 6th Street, you wouldn't see tent, but you will see homeless people at every corner. And it's really bad. And you go to the street smells like urine. You go to Lake Austin. By the way, we're doing like trail review now, and then you should watch the trail review for Lake Austin. Bro, it's a beautiful trail. And then it's supposed to serve the people, the community who lives and works in Austin, who contribute towards the city, to help build the city and make it more attractive for more people to come. But if you go down and walk Lake Austin Trail, every time you walk under a bridge, you smell nothing but urine and drugs. Literally, the air is filled with drugs and urine. It's a horrible feeling that why is this country so developed, yet so criminal? Like how is it happening? This is not exaggerating, by the way. When we go to LA, because I frequently visit LA because our clients and also projects, brother, you cannot go outside. Like the first time I ever went to LA, literally the people picking me up give me this really, really weird vibe. And then he told me, don't go out after 8 p.m. What? Like, bro, it's LA. It's supposed to be the shining hill, of the shining hill in the city or whatever that is, right? It's supposed to be the apple of the palm. It's supposed to be like this great city that everybody want to aspire to go to from the rest of the world. But yet, if you go to LA, like go down Santa Monica Beach, go down go to Long Beach, go to Santa Monica Beach, go to like all those popular destinations. All you see are tents and people shooting drugs on the side of the street. I went to San Francisco the other day for GDC, for a major conference. And bro, like you will see actual zombies like standing there like that. Literally, that's just standing on the street. Bunch of them. How is this allowed in the United States? I seriously don't get how this is allowed. And those politicians stay in place. It's crazy to me. Like, we're not talking about politics at all. Doesn't matter which party you support in the United States, because to be honest, I can care less about politics. But any common sense people wouldn't support that, right? This need to be gone, one way or the other. If you want a more humane way or just more strictly done way, like either way, this need to be cleansed. I think America need to restore its like, before it gets its global domination, AI or whatever, that's its aspiration right now. How about fix the street? How about like clean this up? This is crazy.
Other cities as well. The fixes to these cities aren't state secrets. Giuliani took care of New York with some straightforward solutions that can be used today. First, let's take a quick look at San Francisco. Now, I live in the Bay Area, and when I mention that to some people, they're stunned, thinking that I live in some sort of third world smoldering city. So let me be clear.
I don't know. Well, maybe he's talking about San Francisco being a third world city, which is true. It actually is. It's such a contrast, by the way, because there's certain part of the city are absolutely beautiful, stunning. Like Golden Bay Bridge, bro, like certain part of Chinatown actually looks really stunning. But lots of the area of the city, or especially downtown, it's just a disaster, man. Like, I don't know how that's
If you've only seen San Francisco through news reports and crazy clips online, it's not as bad as you think. There are a whole lot of amazingly beautiful parts of town, and you'll find neighborhoods that are safe and clean. But big parts of it are actually
it's like that. It's exactly like that.
Hellholes, and everybody who lives here knows it. It's a mess.
And by the way, it's so funny. Like, you will go to San Francisco and you will see the simplest grocery store being barred up. Like, all the windows are barred with steel frames because they're afraid of thieves and then robbery. Is this United States, a developed country? How is that happening? Like, it pissed me off every single time, because like it's so hard to, like, for any immigrant who aspire to come to the United States and, you know, eventually live here, become part of the country, and you look at, like, you wanted to come here because of the stories, the movies you watch, like all the great stories, you know, the first step on the moon, all the kind of great things that happen in history. And you came here, you landed in San Francisco. You're like, what just happened? What just happened? Instead of smelling fresh air, you smell urine. Like, obviously, you know, if you're inside of the airport, you're not going to smell that. Maybe even inside, right? Which is how bad it is. If you go to UT Austin, for example, my mother university, brother, like on campus, you will see homeless people, and that's not taken care of, right? They will, parts of the university, you will smell urine. Like, I came here for study, bro. Like, why university? You will never see this ever, anywhere, in any universities in China. You do that once, you're in jail. You're gone. You're done, right? You're kicked out, barred, banned from ever coming close to that campus. I don't know where they send you. Doesn't matter. You're gone from that. You do not belong in a civilized society. You actually just don't. That's what common sense would tell you. But in the United States, apparently common sense is gone, it's wiped out.
Mentally ill and drug-addicted people have literally taken over chunks of the city. We have increasing violence, car break-ins, open-air drug dealing, and shoplifting.
Yeah, that's literally. By the way, this is actually stuff that happening in real life. Like, people would just walk into a shop, and frequently you see black people, which is kind of interesting in the United States, because I don't know what is happening in this specific subset of a community. The U.S. is such a cultural melting pot, right? Because in, like, the rest of the world, for example, China, Japan, Korea, especially Asian countries or Middle East, you largely see a homogenous ethnicity. Where U.S., that diversity is like the staple. You see people from all shapes of life, right? Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, everything you can imagine is here. And then certain communities, certain people, certain group of a subset of the community, you just see them go into the shop, take whatever they want, and walk out of it. It's actually just crazy. The police don't care. I don't know if they care or not, but clearly there's no police caring. Like, you can see in this specific video, this guy looks like he's security. He doesn't seem like he gives a fuck. Yeah, take everything. Try to do that in Japan or Korea or China. Try to do that in any Asian country. Try to do that in the Middle East. You will get your arms beaten off from your body. Like, your arms will not be, like, separated from your body, but they will feel like a flying, independent part from your body, right? They will not be part of your body while being part of your body. That's how scary it is. While here, it's allowed. Actually, when there's one time we're in LA, like, me and Cici, we're walking to a random Walgreens, I think. All the shelves are kind of empty. At certain shelves, they had like locks on them, and it was locking the simplest items. Like, I think it was toothpaste or some sort, or the basic makeup or facial cleaning products. It was all locked behind window door. And it looks really scary, because when I saw that, it just made me feel like, wait, am I getting robbed today? It's real. And by the way, I got robbed in real life when I was in LA. There's one time, I think that's when I was living in LA, being an esports player, professional esports player. Me and my friend Cici, and then my friend's wife. I don't want to, my friend knew, by the way. Big shout out to, well, I don't want to say his name. But anyways, we were in In-N-Out and buying like In-N-Out burger. In-N-Out is a very popular burger chain. It's a really good burger. But okay, so we were in In-N-Out. I got an order, and how the order works is after you order your food, they give you a little ticket. The ticket has a number on it, and then you can go find your seat, wait, and once the cashier call your number, you go pick up your food. So my number was a random number. I forgot what it was, maybe 60, doesn't matter. So they called my number. They said, and I went to grab my food, right? But there was this homeless person who went ahead of me. Later on, I find out he was a homeless person. At the time, at the moment, I didn't know it was a homeless person, or at least I didn't care. This random person just like ran in front of me and grabbed my food. I ordered food for the entire table, entire party of 4, right? So it was a lot of food. So the people went in front of me, grabbed the plate, and then handing a random ticket and said, "This is my food," and he took it. Obviously, the honor system, so the cashier didn't check, give him the food. He took the food, and I look at my ticket. I was like, "Yo, that's my food," right? So I said, "Yo, sir, that's my food," and he said, "No, it's my food. No, it's my food." And he started repeating that like a crazy person. "No, it's my food. No, it's my food," really loud in the In-N-Out, and In-N-Out is usually packed, right? So the entire restaurant seemed like all froze in that moment. Everybody started looking at him and me, like, what is going on? The guy took the food and started running out of the restaurant. Basically, my food got robbed. Right? It's not the biggest deal, but it was scary at the moment because it could have been anything else. The thing is, he took the food and ran out. That's when I realized it was a homeless person who was stealing food or robbing food or whatever you want to call it, right? Because he took it in front of me. He took the food and ran out. And the cashier obviously saw this, and eventually they remade the order for me. They apologized and remade the order for me. They went outside and tried to kick the homeless person away. But that's the situation we live in right now. In LA, never in 1,000 years before I came to the United States would I imagine this is what to expect, right? Just never. I would not ever, this would never happen at any time in any of the Korean street corners. When I lived in Korea for 3 months, it was such a safe society. It's so safe. You can go out any time at night and people will be partying, having a good time during a pandemic even. Like, it was just the greatest time. The same thing goes to any Chinese cities. Not even just major cities. The same thing goes to any cities, like smaller cities. It's safe. The old time, like when I grew up, you hear about people like stealing your stuff on the train, or you lose all this kind of stuff in your train. That doesn't happen anymore. At least not that I know of, right? Especially in the city center, that will never happen. You just feel safe. You just go by and live your life. Where in America, you feel your life is in danger doing the simplest task. It is such, like the majority of the community feel terrorized. And it seems like the politicians just don't care. They just
driving
don't.
businesses.
I just don't know why they're still in power. I don't. Like, this is supposed to be a democracy. And I don't feel that. I don't feel that at all.
Right out of the city. It's left some areas as wastelands. And it's not just an
Yeah, this is literally what people are. Like, this is what people live like on the street.
eyesore. It's a
Like, why are they still there? Right? Why are they there? Why are they not in a rehab or in some kind of institution? I don't know. Why are they there?
human tragedy unfolding right before our eyes. Drug deaths have exploded, and people with horrific problems are living like zombies on the streets.
By the way, like, they're not living like they're actual zombies on the street, like I mentioned. Literally in San Francisco. In LA, I just see homeless people, like tents. In San Francisco, you actually see real life zombies. If you want to see real life World War Z, go to San Francisco, right? Like, that's actually a tourism attraction at this point. You go there, you see people like just doing that for hours, just sitting on the street in front of a major building, any building, right? Downtown. It's disgusting.
And the elephant in the room is that the government has no solution on the horizon. Its policies aren't simply failing, they're making things worse.
They are making things worse. It's actually making it so much worse. I heard, and it's true, by the way, I don't recall the exact policy. In LA or in California, I would say California, they're actively giving the people who are doing drugs on the street more drugs because I think the reasoning behind it is they don't want them to have like the withdrawal effect where they start shaking, they're going to a seizure or whatever, it can kill them. So somehow, to the politicians, the solution to the problem of people doing drugs on the street is giving them more drugs so they don't go into a seizure. What a freaking genius idea. I don't know how they came up with it. You know, why couldn't I think of it? Why couldn't you think of it? Why couldn't everybody with any little shred of common sense think of it? Let's give the drug users more drugs for free, using taxpayer money to give them more drugs. Great idea.
I also lived in New York when it was in a doom loop of its own. The city was dystopian. Murder rates were astronomical. Times Square was more about prostitution and drugs than tourism, and no sane person would walk through Central Park after dark. Schools were dysfunctional and the government was broke. Mafia corruption was a real factor, and people cheered when vigilantes like Bernie Goetz shot muggers on a train, or the Guardian Angels patrolled streets. Like troubled cities today, it wasn't one problem, but a whole litany of problems.
New York was this bad?
And in 8 years as mayor,
it's still kind of bad today.
Turned all of that around. Violent crime dropped by over.
You see, this is when you know, like, I'm still pretty young, right? Because, like, I'd never seen a picture of Rudy Giuliani like that. But again, I don't really follow politics that much anymore. So I've never seen Rudy Giuliani like that. And this is like 1990s turnout. I was just born then.
Half. Robberies fell 67%.
Whoa.
The number of yearly murders dropped from 2,000 in his first year to 649 in his.
That's really good. Like, that's by statistic never lie. That's really good. But I don't think it's good enough. Just look at, I think the murder or the robbery on the street should go to 0. Like, cause just like Korea, if Korea, China can do it, what's stopping America from doing it? Technology, AI, everything's so advanced. What's stopping the major cities from doing it? I don't see a singular reason besides politicians are defrauding and scamming the taxpayer money. I really do think this entire thing is just a big money laundry scam for all the politicians. However they're in power, they need to be taken out, right? Just gone from the office, right? Like, the people need to vote them out one way or the other. But I just don't know how they're not being voted out. What kind of game are they playing that they're still in office? Literally, that's allowing this to happen, right? Obviously, this is pretty good, dropping from 2,649, but it should drop to 0. Just think about the immigration issue that's happening in the US right now. It was really bad, and now it's gone to 0, right? It seems like if the politicians are actually, if the people actually want to do it, it can happen. You just take an effective person to make it happen. So it just seems like the people who work in California or New York now are just not very effective. And somehow they're still in office, so.
Last, literally saving thousands of lives over his tenure. Unemployment dropped from over 10% in 1993 to 5.6% in 2001. Welfare rolls dropped by half. School test scores went up. He inherited a city with a $2.3 billion budget gap and left with a surplus. The city.
Damn, Rudy Giuliani, dub. Bro, I never knew. I have never knew, by the way. I don't know. Again, I don't know this
city
person.
And a tourist mecca. It was the absolute reverse of a doom loop. I saw it happen, and I know it's possible. But the first step doesn't start at City Hall.
So the only thing I know about Rudy Giuliani is that he campaigned for Trump. And then from someone who never was interested in politics perspective, the reason why I was interested in politics was like, because I thought it was funny to watch people debate. US is the only country, I wouldn't say only country, but US is a country where you can see the top of the top politicians cuss at each other, right? Like, I will send you to jail. No, I'll send you to jail. It's kind of funny. It's also kind of absurd, right? Because you expect the people who hold the highest office to have some kind of, their debate is more decent, you know, and then it's more like a debate between the university students, right? Where it's kind of fun to watch, to have substance to talk about. But no, modern politics in the United States are more like a reality TV show. It's just fun to watch. So like you watch them as a show, like you literally do. Like at least that's what I do, because I don't really care about politics. I think I'm politically homeless, right? There's no specific party I belong to. I believe what I believe, and I don't really care, right? So, but politics you can watch for fun. And I just remember Rudy Giuliani was campaigning for Trump at the time. That's all I knew about him. And then, dude, this seems to be pretty good.
Paul, it actually starts with voters. They need to get fed up, and they need to vote that way. Politicians rarely push change on their own. It's hard work. So they're generally barometers of public sentiment. They don't lead the marching band. They see where it's going and they jump out in front of it.
See, that's an issue, right? Because I think politicians are too afraid to do things. The reason why is they forgot why they're there. And those are the people who need to be gone. Like, they should not hold office. If you're in office and you don't know why you're there, Why are you there? Leave. Just get, the only reason they're still there is because it's a job for them. And then I think in the United States, like, because they say that the people who are in office are there to serve the community, then go there and serve. In fact, I'm a little bit extreme, right? Like, in a way, I think people who serve in office should have some kind of accomplishment before they're qualified to serve in office, where they shouldn't go in for money. If they go in there as a job and this become a job for them, that's bad. That's just bad, because they're not there to serve. They're there to make money. And a lot of the politicians are like that because they forgot why they're there. I mean, doesn't matter how you, like, there are a lot of people, like, for example, Trump. A lot of people criticize Trump. Now, I'm neither a supporter or a hater of Trump, right? We're neutral because right now gas price is insanely high and that's really, really bad. So I dislike whatever he's doing to make the gas price really high. But obviously that's a different topic. The idea is, though, Trump knew why he is in office, right? He actually knew really well. He's doing everything he campaigned on. And that's what makes him really effective, because he does things, I'm going to do the border. That's the campaign on it, right? And then he's doing the border. And I'm going to do this and doing that. Like, he basically does whatever he said he's going to do. So I think the politicians, for the rest of the politicians, I don't even know why a lot of the people are in Congress, right? Apparently they campaigned. Then just do what you campaigned. If you're going to take out a homeless issue, take out a homeless issue, right? Do something. Do something you said you were going to do. Don't because most of the politicians will say stuff and they never do. That's why, I dislike all the politicians, including Trump now. He's doing a lot of things that he never said he was going to do. He's kind of deviating from what he said he was going to do. I thought he was a funny guy. Now he's less funny now, which is interesting. But most of the politicians, I would say, especially in California, right? I don't know what they campaign on. I don't know why people voted them in. Maybe they look good. Maybe they know how to speak properly. But the U.S. politics is such a shit show at this point, where you just don't know if the people who are serving are actually serving. Where, even, for example, in China, you can say, any government has corruption and whatnot. But in China, where the city I grew up, every time I went back once a few years, right, and to visit my family or see the city is growing. It looked different every time I went, and in a much better way. It looked more modernized. You go to Shanghai, you go to Shenzhen. Bro, last time I went to Shenzhen, it actually looked like cyberpunk. It's crazy. I was in a corporate office on I think 70th floor. Bro, I see drones on that floor level flying, many different drones, ships sending stuff. I've never seen that in the United States. People, literally, if you never travel to China, you have no idea how behind the US is in modern life. It's crazy. Everything's so extremely convenient. And I just happen to have the luxury to travel between multiple countries, right? So same thing goes for smaller cities, right? You in Chongqing, for example, the stuff literally looks like sci-fi movie. Anywhere you go, it's a beautiful scenery. Anywhere you go. I'm not exaggerating. Just look at all the vloggers, because not everybody are there to lie, right? Just watch those videos and you'll see what the hell is happening in the United States right now. It literally looked like a third world country. Not look like. It literally is a third world country at this point. And I think the politicians need to go. They just really do. Unless this issue is fixed. It's such a common sense issue. I think everybody who watches the videos want the homeless issue to be solved. And they can be solved pretty easily. Just get them out of there, right? Why is it not solved?
Now, people of San Francisco are generally very nice people, maybe too much so. That comes through in city politics.
I would agree.
With their real concerns about things like poverty, minority rights, the rights of accused criminals, and police brutality. Voters here don't want to criminalize poverty, and they support harm reduction strategies like
I actually, this part I have to agree. I think one big culture about America is generosity. American generosity is on another level. Compared to any other country, me and Cici were on a trail walking the other day, I was just thinking, if you think about American culture, what stands out compared to other countries, right? You have to compare it to know what actually is better. And then one thing that we land on is generosity. Because people here would work, younger folks. Let's say if they work to make $2,000, they would just donate that $2,000 if they know somebody's in need. I've seen that happen in real life. People will work just to donate that money. I have never seen that, right? In anywhere, I've never seen that in China, for example, at least from my circle where I grew up, because people were so poor when I was a kid. Now everybody was so rich, so it's very, very different. So I don't know how society is now. I think, but by the way, Chinese people are very, very generous. It's not like American level of generosity, but in this aspect of cultural comparison, I think US does stand out. Like the generosity here is on a whole different level. So a lot of the policy, that's why like I don't ever criticize like the content of the politics. Because a lot of it, I think, you know, you have to respect what people believe. And it's just a cultural difference, right? In here, I think people are generous. They do want to help people who are poor. They do want to help people who are suffering. So a lot of the policies reflects that, right? Reflects that ultimate philosophy. Now, you can argue whether the action can generate results or not. Sure, we can debate on those. But you have to respect the fundamental the philosophy behind that, which is generosity.
Cash and needle giveaways that other communities might call enabling. But values like safety and public order are increasing. Voters recalled Cheso Bodine, who is essentially a pro-criminal district attorney, but the vote was fairly close. He ended up with 45% of the vote. But
pro-criminal attorney. Bro, like I can't believe that's a term. I cannot believe this. And also only in US you will hear pro-criminal attorney. Like how can you become pro-criminal, bro? Like what about the victim? What about the majority? You know, that's so funny because in a previous episode, we talked about the minority. Some of the minority community seem like they got the microphone and they speak really loud. That's against common sense a lot of times against common sense. And the majority just don't give a fuck. Really don't. I don't know why, but they really don't give a fuck. And then this is exactly the case. Like you only in US, you hear the word pro-criminal attorney. How did that happen? Why are not pro-majority public who is suffering from that criminal? Like what is going on? Maybe it means something else.
As the situation continues to deteriorate here, and it will, voters will eventually be ready for radical change. In New York, that radical change was electing a Republican prosecutor who'd broken the mob and sent more than his fair share of Wall Street criminals to jail. His strategy to fix New York traces it.
Good. We should send people to jail. I think more people need to go to jail in US. Really. Like, especially because a lot of people in US are not, I wouldn't say they're voluntarily homeless. They're just, I don't know if they're voluntary or not voluntary, actually. I just seen a lot of homeless. And then either way, how they become homeless, I don't think they should be there, right? They need to be in a rehab. Because a lot of them are mentally ill. Because they take a lot of drugs, and also the politician enables it. So they take more drugs. So why are they there? Why are they not in a rehab trying to get rid of it? Because like in a lot of countries, common sense would tell you if somebody's like addicted to drug, the way to deal with it is not give this person more drug, right? Isn't it makes more common sense to get this person into a rehab, force or medically safe in a medically safe way to make sure you cleanse that from this person, you know, instead of letting him to stay there and keep on doing more drugs. But that's what we see in most of the major cities in California. It's the most criminal thing ever. And this criminal act's being conducted on the highest level of the government.
Its roots to an Atlantic magazine article in 1982. It was called Broken Windows by George Kelling and James Q. Wilson. Imagine a building where vandals have broken a window or two. If those windows go unrepaired, it won't be long before they're all broken. Then graffiti appears, and soon the whole place turns into a mess. The theory argues that small signs of disorder send a message that neglect is acceptable, and that attracts more serious crime and bad behavior.
And that I think that's absolutely true. Because like it's similar to the bucket theory, where how much water the bucket can hold is always equates to the lowest, the shortest bar within the bucket, right? You have a cup this large, but if I have a hole over here, I can never hold water above this hole because it's gonna leak from that hole. That's basically the theory. Like if you see certain behaviors allowed, like the craziest things that I saw in the United States was like somehow petty crime is allowed. Like in fact, it's not even allowed; it's encouraged somehow. Like I don't know why that was. But a certain community can just go into a store and take things without going to the jail. Without, it seems like they're okay, right? Like and people are donating to get more criminals out on the street so they can go back to the stores and do more vandalism, right? It's kind of weird to me how that's allowed because in any civilized society or any society, stealing should not be encouraged. And the tiny action that you allow will send a strong signal to the criminal community, to the people who want to conduct more crimes. Hey, I can do this, but what if I stretch it further? What if I do more? You know, like that's literally what happens. I think
By cracking down on these small offenses, a sense of order is set, creating an environment where lawlessness is the norm, not the exception. This idea fundamentally changes the approach to law enforcement, shifting focus from just reacting to major crimes to actively maintaining community standards. Now, before Giuliani was even elected,
that's common sense. They should. Any community should have a minimum standard. Minimum standard is law and order. Every community, every person watching this video, I think every single one of us want to live in a safe environment. Nobody wants to live in a unsafe environment. Like my mom lives in China mainland, right? She came visit not too long ago. And then just in our neighborhood, there was one time she was walking outside. I told her like not to walk outside by herself, but she liked to walk. She's a very explorative spirit, similar to me. And she walked outside without GPS, without anything, just went out and walked, right? And then she ran back to the house. And I was like, is everything okay? And she was like, this black guy was chasing me on the street. Now, it scared the living hell out of me, right? Because we've seen enough examples of people just get knocked out randomly on the middle of the street because of mentally ill people. And then my mom was literally chased by a random person on the street. Like, why is that kind of action? Because I wasn't there. If I was there, obviously we're going to call the police, right? But she came back, and luckily we're in a gated community. And a person stopped chasing, and mom ran really fast. But this kind of behavior, why is that happening in US? In the most, supposedly the most developed, the leader of the free world. Like, how is that happening? I don't understand. I really don't understand. This should not be allowed. And this is not a standard that any community should allow. If this kind of person is doing this, even though he or she didn't end up hurting anyone, but they belong in jail and nowhere else. Nowhere else. We need to have a higher standard for law and order for every community.
Bill Bratton had come in to lead the New York Transit Police, and he used the broken windows approach. Small fixes like cleaning up graffiti and going after fare jumpers and vandals signaled that even minor offenses had
By the way, I don't think this is minor offenses. I do not think this is minor offenses. This is a criminal. This is literally, in my definition, this is terrorism. Because like public transport is set for the city, for people, everybody who hardworking people who need to go to work, who need to take their family out on the weekends. And any person with a thread of common sense walking to a subway and seeing this, you're going to feel insecure. I don't care who you are. You can be the biggest like size, right? You can be a huge 7 feet tall. You see this, you're going to feel insecure. You're going to feel like, oh, I should have a weapon on my like, carry on or something like that. Because this feels dangerous. I would never walk into a subway like this. If I live in a community, I know subways like this, I will never take the subway, right? And that's terrorism. Why shouldn't I be allowed to on a subway? If I pay taxes, I'm a law-abiding citizen, I provide value to society, I pay my due to the community, and I cannot use a subway, then what am I paying taxes for? Why is the right? And that same goes for everybody, right? The community people who live in that community. This is literally terrorism for the community. Like, why do they have to live in a train like this? I don't think this is a minor offense. People who do this need to go to jail, and they shouldn't be let out. They should stay in there forever. And I think any rational person would agree with me. And those people need to go work and go into a military training. Because like in China and Korea, they have military training and you learn discipline, right? Like if you don't wake up a certain amount of time in the morning, if you don't go to sleep a certain amount of time at night, you get beat, right? Physically. And then you understand action has consequences. And you have to obey authority, right? You have to obey the minimum standard that everybody agreed to in a society. Because that's how society functions. The disorder must be taken care of. And this is an example of that, right? So I don't think this is a small crime, even though I can see, Mr. John LaCourt's idea or whatever you want to say here. But the point is, I don't think this is a small crime. I think people who do this need to be taken care of in the most brutal and public way. So other kids who see this understand that your action has consequences. If you do stuff like this to terrorize the community, you'll be taken care of, right?
Consequences. The result was a drastic drop in serious subway crime as well. Soon after the election,
yeah, if that's taken care of, it's common sense. Yeah, why wouldn't crime drop? Of course, if people who do this type of stuff get sent to jail, of course crime's gonna drop. Like people are gonna see that and be scared. The question is, why isn't San Francisco or LA doing that? Why is LA still the homeless shithole it is, right? Santa Monica Beach, you don't smell fresh water. You see poop everywhere. Dog feces, birds feces, human feces, human urine. I just went to LA last month, right? And then, brother, like walking on next to the beach, it's worse than walking anywhere. Like you sometimes there's fresh air, sometimes like that, and that word sometimes. And Santa Monica Beach just doesn't belong. You should always feel like you're walking next to fresh air, ocean breeze. That's what it's supposed to feel like. But yet, anytime you walk to a port, every time you walk to a bay, every time you walk next to the beach, you just saw different kind of feces mixed together. Like how is that mayor still there? Like how is that mayor still the mayor of the city? Brother, like have some common sense, bro. That person need to leave the office.
Giuliani named Bratton as the...
I just don't know how, like, see, this is why I truly believe the idea of suicidal empathy. I think people are too generous, and then they let their generosity get the best of them and blinded their judgment in that city. Because I don't see any other way why those people are still elected, still in the position of power to allow this to happen. It makes no sense to me. Like when people go to LA, they expect LA to represent the country. And right now you go to LA, you see a shithole. You really actually do.
Police commissioner.
And in a way, I don't know why the rich people still live there. Maybe because of the ocean. And by the way, you can understand why the rich people still live there. Because when you have too much money, you don't give a fuck. And that's why I feel like being the middle class is so criminal in the United States, right? Because like we get stuck. You don't get any benefits, right? Because you're not part of the lower class that get to qualify for the benefits, and you don't get like the fuck you money that you can do whatever you want. You're just struggling, like because you're super rich. You go to LA, you go to Beverly Hills, you can see them living in the gated community. Everything's nice, and then there's no criminal there because they can't. There's private security, but everywhere else, freaking hellhole, right? Like it's just the rules are so different, and yet the politicians are still there. I just don't understand how the people voted. How do people vote against their common sense? Like, aren't people just not knowing that you're walking next to human feces? Like, did you not see the poop on the right side of your feet right now? You voted for that shit, right? Like, how did that, you voted for that pile of shit. How did that happen? Like, I blame you, the voter in LA who's making this happen, right? Like, make LA great again.
For the entire city. Their first target, the squeegee men. These were guys who come up to cars stopped at red lights and start cleaning the window whether you wanted it or not. Then they demanded money, which was really closer to a shakedown. Now people...
Oh, I hated that shit. I really do. I hated that shit. When I wait in this is frequently happening in the United States, right? You wait at a freaking red light, and then a bunch of people just came in, and then sadly, frequently they're also black. They'll come in with this little windshield wiper thing or whatever, swifey, right? They'll come in super dirty, by the way, and you do not want them to touch your car, but they do. They forcefully go to your windshield, because I had this happen to me twice, right? And now I just fully reject. Please don't. I just do this. But I didn't do that before when I first came. And then when I was still a student, they will go to my car and they will start doing this. And they ask you for money. And you feel bad not giving them money, but your car got dirtier. And you're like, what just happened? Right? You literally feel like your life is in danger when that was happening. Obviously, you probably are not life in danger, but you feel that way. You feel insecure because somebody is doing something against your will on your property. And that is allowed in the US. Why is that allowed? I don't know. And I hope that's not allowed, right? I hope some common sense is brought back to the people in the ruling class to stop this nonsense. Because if this go to the extreme, there will be riot, right? Like I really do think so. Because when people now are still voluntarily taking the suffer, because life is hard, but it's not to the point where they can't survive. Well, a lot of them, I shouldn't say that because they actually can't survive. The gas price is at freaking $5. Bro, we live in Texas. The gas price is $5. How do people go anywhere? I don't understand, right? You literally charge a full tank of Prius and it's $50 to get a tank of gas to go somewhere. In the US, you cannot go anywhere because without a car, because there's no public transportation anywhere. Especially in a city like Austin, Houston, Dallas. Only public transportation you can expect is probably LA. And then you get a subway like that, or New York, right? You get a subway like that, right? So like there's no public transportation. And then when you drive your car, the price is insane. Well, again, it's different topic for another day. But let's
away, and you
talk
worry
San
about
Francisco.
getting your car scratched up by this guy standing right outside. For commuters coming into New York, this was often the first person they encountered in the city. So police started arresting the squeegee men, who were then immediately released because there was no law against aggressive window cleaning. There was, however, a law against jaywalking, and the police started arresting them for that. And when they returned,
Good. Arrest him for anything. The thing is, people with common sense would agree that shouldn't be. Well, how about arresting them for trespassing my property? I'm on a public road with my private car, and this person literally is touching me, my property, right? Like without my consent. There gotta be a law against that. How about arrest him for that? I don't care what you arrest him for. Arrest them, right? Get them out of the street. Clean those people off the street. Clean those clowns off the street. But set an example. Tell the people this is not allowed. A civilized society need to have basic bottom lines where people feel safe, secure in their city, so people can work and prosper.
they got arrested again until they literally were harassed out of traffic and disappeared from the city. On one hand, it was a trivial move, but it's
This is still everywhere, by the way. Like, I recently in Austin, it has been less, but they still exist. The squeegee man, right? Sometimes you still go on the street, but they're less aggressive because I got people who forcefully cleaned my window before. And in recent years, when this thing happened, I just aggressively said no, and they wouldn't do it. But it's still kind of annoying. The fact that every time I go to a red light and there's always somebody begging for money or try to clean your window, try to sell some random tickets, it's annoying. It's annoying. It's so annoying. It's like, get them off the intersection. Get those clowns off the intersection. I don't care what the government needed to do. I swear to God, any common sense people would want that to happen. Get those clowns off the intersection. We do not want to see them. This doesn't exist anywhere in the world but US. Well, I don't know about Europe, but in any Asian country, anywhere where civilized people live, and you call yourself like the leader of the free world, well, how about clean your fucking street? Sorry about cussing there. But clean it. It's disgusting.
signaled to all New Yorkers that order was returning to the city. It also showed what would become a pattern to Rudy Giuliani: tenacity. He didn't hold a press conference and whine that his hands were tied unless the city council passed an anti-squeegee law. He pushed through obstacles to get things done.
You see, here's the thing, right? I mean, I gotta say, like, from an observer standpoint for the politics, that's similar to Trump, right? Because Trump is also, he's complaining is very strategic. A lot of people, most of people look at Trump complaining, is just say, oh, this guy constantly complains. Complain about news, complain about media, complain about everything. But his complaining is very strategic. Because if you read The Art of the Deal, which I did, a lot of times he does that for media attention. And that drives a lot of narrative to achieve the goal he wanted to achieve. Trump is actually a very tenacious person, like, and extremely goal-driven. Like, if you actually read his autobiography or whatnot, or especially Art of the Deal, you can get a glimpse or see the way how he works, and you can see a glimpse of this character, right? He will do whatever it takes to get the objective done. And the you can say performative or whatever, the media personality, the complaining, it's all part of getting the job done. I don't care what he needed to do as long as you get the job done. How about now? Well, I kind of understand that clean the street in Austin is not really part of the job. Somebody in Austin, please do it, right? But I guess I just wanted to say that this part, probably why the reason why Rudy was supporting Trump is they're very similar in this way, right? Tenacious, in getting things done. And I think that's a really strong trait for an effective leader, actually. Complaining is never the solution, but getting the job done is.
And cities are filled with obstacles to change. Lifetime bureaucrats, powerful unions. Well,
yeah, true. Lifetime bureaucrats is the worst, right? It's so bad. That's all we're saying. Like, why isn't term set on Congress? There are terms set on president, but why isn't term set on Congress people? I feel like most of the people there are just fossils, actual fossils. They shouldn't be there. And if you're in US, like where you can easily get a job, I feel like the Congress should be people who have served their society in terms of, doing a job or providing a job. They have done something in their career that's already, they understand the discipline. They understand the value of money before they go serve. I truly believe like the current politicians should be career politicians in a way where they graduate, they become a politician, and they're there for life. That's so cringe for me. I feel like people need to hold a job outside of politics for years before they can qualify for politics. But that's in my opinion. Right? Again, I'm not really interested in politics, but it seems like majority of the Congress people who work in Congress, aka congressmen, congresswomen, or the House, I don't even know what they're doing. Like, because the cities are still criminal. Look at our cities. It's still criminal. Like, why are you there? Who's representing us? I don't even know. Like, why are you there, bro? Why are you there?
These special interests. It takes determination and a lot of stubbornness to make things happen. New York also did the opposite of defund the police, increasing the number of cops on the streets by a lot.
Oh, by the way, speaking of defund the police, it's so this is so absurd, right? It's also another U.S. phenomenon that happened for a few years, for quite some time. I've never heard of that before. With the cultural background from like Asian countries, and then you understand like what do you mean by defunding the police? Like, how does that even work? People criticizing in US, I feel like a lot of jobs are really hard to do because the melting pot culture. There's so many different ethnicities. You can call anything racist, but when there's an issue happening in a specific community, the common sense would tell you, if you have pain in the left arm, let's go fix the left arm. Let's not go try to do anything on the right arm because my left arm is in pain, right? It makes sense if a certain community is in trouble or having a lot of trouble, the police will go fix that community. And obviously, when anything is happening, there's going to be issues that's coming up. The solution to the issues are not, let's not dealing with the pain anymore. The solution is let's send more people who are an expert, who are better, get more training to go help the problem until the problem is fixed. That's just what common sense would tell you. But yet, in the United States, we see the opposite. When crime is high, guess what? Let's defund the police because police are causing all these crimes. I don't understand how this become a quote unquote norm in quote unquote the biggest country in the world. I don't understand. It baffles me. It's beyond my imagination and common sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Please get that out of this society. Just please. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen because, like, who are we to tell, right?
By contrast,
we're just complaining for fun.
When it was trendy in 2020, the San Francisco mayor slashed $120 million from the police budget and redirected it to prioritizing investments in the African American community.
Whoa, that's crazy. But again, like, I don't know the details, so we can't really criticize that. However, I just don't understand defunding the police. The entire movement, it's kind of weird. It's like for a certain amount of time, there was a huge movement called BLM, Black Lives Matter, and not to say that the intention of the movement was wrong. I think it's pretty good to help, the people who were in need of help. But it turned out the people who were doing that movement eventually all scammed all the money they collected and bought all the houses. And I think they're in jail now, which is quite interesting. I didn't follow exactly what they did, or, I'm not here to say exactly what happened in the movement because I simply don't know. I just know that there was at the time the BLM was really popular and a lot of people were supporting it because you saw it on any social media. It's impossible not to notice if you are doing social media. But I don't care about, I didn't care about politics then. I still don't care about politics that much now. So I didn't really follow that movement. I just know the leaders are in jail. It's a complete scam, right? That's what you get for defunding the police. That's really what happens.
New York, there were more cops and they were empowered.
And it turned out right now there are a lot more people that are being investigated for fraud, for defrauding the American public. And they're all people with doing this type of movements. It's so weird. It's just turned out human nature is a human nature, right? Doesn't matter how you think about good people doing good things. End of the day, human nature is human nature. And you should always make sure that you take measures to protect yourself and protect the people that you care about. In this case, if you're a politician, you should care about your constituents, the people who voted you into office. And right now, nobody cares about our rights. We're Austonians, we're people who live in Austin for 20 years and pay our dues. You go downtown, you see nothing but shithole. Urine, human feces, and then you walk down Lake Austin, you go under any bridge, it smells like piss. Crazy.
Targeting to go after large and small crimes alike. Open-air drug markets were shut down, and with that, the violent crime that came with them. When they would make an arrest and find a guy with a gun on him, that was one less gun off the street and one less body off the street as well. Often.
That's good.
They took a tough stance on the homeless. You'd be arrested for public urination or drinking.
You'd be what?
Or took a tough stance on the homeless. You'd be arrested for public urination.
Good. Arrest all of them. If you pee, like if you're a kid, you shouldn't even pee in public because they wear diapers. Even a kid wouldn't pee in public. Imagine a grown ass adult peeing in public, and that's allowed in any civilized city. Bro, what have we come to, bro? Like, what is happening? What is happening? See, this is the thing about being in the middle class. It's so hard, right? Because you can't just move and leaving all your job, all your company behind in the United States and just go anywhere else because we built our career here. But if you have the choice, if we made enough money and we get to the point where it's, where we can say "fuck you" money, literally the first thing any rational person, it's hard to see those people stay in the U.S. That's why like all the rich people, they don't live in the place that they're in. They like look at the richest people in New York. Barely any of them actually live there. I think they all live in like some other countries, or look at all the like famous people that they rarely live in a place that they quote their company in. They just don't live there. They know it's a shithole. So, but they have so much fuck you money where, yeah, I can throw away all the furniture here and go to another city, buy brand new best furniture, and it wouldn't move a dime. It just doesn't work for us, for the people who are still grinding really hard, right? So my goal to all this solution is to make money. Because so we can leave, we can move, have more mobility to other cities, to other countries even. This is so criminal because I've lost all hope of any politicians doing anything in the United States. I feel like they just live in this city, never seen any other cities in the world. They don't know, they don't have any common sense, and they're just there to scam money. And the people are sheep mentality enough to keep on voting them there. It is so sad to see. I vote, and I try to vote against that type of stuff, but I don't even know what they're standing for. Most of the names I don't recognize. Like, nobody talking about this. Maybe eventually I will become a congressman and then save Austin. Who knows?
Or drinking, or aggressive panhandling. Giuliani literally harassed bad behavior off of the streets. And at the same time, the city increased shelter capacity and transitional housing. Beyond crime, the key word with the rest of the Giuliani reforms was accountability. City agents were held responsible for results. School administrators and teachers.
You know what? I feel like accountability is such a word that's lacking. And this is like a cultural issue now. Young kids don't understand what accountability is. Maybe they don't have parents that help them. Like dysfunctional parents is insanely common thing or challenge in American society nowadays. A lot of kids don't understand what accountability is. I work with a lot of influencers, and accountability is probably the last word that they understand. They just don't understand it. They don't understand what it means to do stuff that they agree to. Like, if you agree to do something, you sign a contract on it, you do it, right? Otherwise, you're going to cause trouble for everybody. And us being the family-friendly friends that you're going to have, we're going to try to save your ass. But at the same time, you don't want to cause trouble every single day. Like, as long as you breathe. Like, accountability is such a big issue. To bring accountability back, you don't have to say anything to them, by the way. Just take them to jail. Like, if people pee like in public, you don't have to teach them. You don't have to teach them by explaining, oh, why don't you have any accountability? Don't do that. Just take them to jail directly, right? Then they will experience accountability. Because that's how we grew up. Every single person that I knew with any common sense grew up understanding accountability. Because if we don't, our action always result in consequences. We all experience the consequence of our actions. That's what accountability is. I feel like a lot of kids don't understand that. They feel like they're invincible for some reason. Especially look at social media. All the streamers, they feel like they're invincible. They do whatever they want. It wasn't there like a guy called something Somali that was causing trouble in like other countries or whatever, and he finally got caught. He's sent to jail in Korea, bro. That's an image of United States? No way, bro. Like that kind of behavior need to be permanently banned. Like his citizenship need to be stripped, and the United States should publicly denounce that kind of person. Say you don't have a passport anymore. Go to anywhere else. Thank God you're not in my country. You can't come back in. I don't care where you go, but you're not part of the U.S. UK, maybe they want to take it. I don't care, right? But I will tell you this for sure. That person will never survive a day in China. The moment he does anything like that in China, see, that's what happened. He's in Korea, he's not taken care of. Because this type of stuff will not be tolerated in culture like Korea and China. If he is in China doing this type of stuff, the next day, he will be in jail. And probably the day after, he'll be sent away. I don't care where he go, but I just don't understand why this type of behavior is allowed in U.S. This is what we call suicidal empathy. Oh, he's just a kid. He still don't understand. How about make him understand? How about freaking make him understand by denaturalizing him, by kicking him out of the country so he'll understand? And maybe eventually one day he will earn his way back into the United States. How about that? Right? Like, how about make him understand? I think that's a pretty good way to solve it.
Were held accountable to quantifiable measurements. Welfare reform reduced dependency and encouraged self-sufficiency. But all throughout, Giuliani was criticized. A lot. He was slammed by homeless advocates for violating civil liberties or pushing the problem off to other cities. Critics
I can see that happening.
Argued that the police strategies unfairly targeted minorities and that the city criminalized poverty instead of addressing the systemic issues. His hard-edged style made him a lot of enemies. But when he was done, he transformed a city that people said was unmanageable.
That's pretty good. I think the point of the video is just say, why can't San Francisco do the same? I don't know. I think every city in the United States need to do that, because common sense would tell you that this is the right thing to do, because majority of the people are nice people. Majority of people want to live in a law-abiding country, law-abiding community, right? Where it's safe to take your kids out, where you go out, you don't have to worry about being shot, being like stabbed, being, pushed into the train where you see nowadays. You don't want to see that. And people need to be set example of, right? Really, to help the society. Really, I really do think so. I mean, it might be harsh initially for a lot of people for a lot of weak-minded people to say, oh, this is harsh. Sadly, we don't have another solution. Maybe you have a better solution. Let me know in the comment section. Common sense tell me that this needs to be taken care of. It's in San Francisco, because it's such a shame that big, beautiful city, San Francisco, Los Angeles, all beautiful, beautiful city by natural wonders, by geolocations, is literally the human shithole it is right now. Like, it's crazy. Lots of streets, shops are just closed. If you're in any country watching this video, you're thinking about traveling to LA, don't, right? Like, just not until they fix the city. Like, I wouldn't recommend you go there, because you'll be disappointed. Unless you have martial arts, you're gonna protect yourself, right? But even then, like, you're gonna be stabbed, because martial arts don't fight a knife or whatnot on the street. So just don't. It's gonna be disappointing. You go to any beach, any Bay Area, you're gonna see. But if you're there to observe and understand history, yeah, go. I would recommend it. Then you will see this chapter in history. Oh, really? This was happening? Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. So that's it, guys. Make sure to like and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.